All right, welcome everyone to Q3's community class. I try to do these community classes once a quarter, fluctuating between, are they for movement professionals? Are they for SCI athletes? And then, depending on different levels of injuries and different focuses. So, of course, today, if you didn't already know what you signed up for, we are doing upper body exercises specifically for cervical level spinal cord athletes, people that maybe have trouble gripping things or with tricep extension. I know that upper body exercises, kind of more what I would consider maybe like a mainstream fitness program, may not fit for you because of tricep challenges or grip challenges. So I have curated over the last, my career, and especially really paying attention in the last year or so, is working with my Zoom clients at home, some circuits that seem to just flow really well together. So you're spending less time fiddling with a setup and more time actually working your muscles and moving your muscles. So that's kind of the inspiration for today. I'm going to screen share again one more time for those on the replay. If you have not already signed the liability waiver, please go ahead and do that. I just am covering it's called CYA in the health field. CYA, cover your ass. Please sign the liability waiver. If you are watching this, it's essentially if you're moving on from this point forward, you have agreed to this assumption and release of liability. All right, a little bit about, I think if you're here, you maybe probably are know a bit who I am. So my name is Stephanie Camella. I am one of the co-founders of Zebrafish Neuro. My client turned business partner, Theo St. Francis, started this whole endeavor with me in 2017. At this point, I am Zebrafish. It is me. I am a team of one, and I do kind of a little bit of everything. So I'm doing one-on-one coaching, both in person in my studio. I do remote coaching. I have online asynchronous programs as well, super budget friendly. I'll talk a little bit about that. I teach courses for movement professionals, but I also, and those courses, they're in-person courses. I travel around. I market them to movement professionals, but I'm always encouraging people with spinal cord injuries to put on a movement professional's hat, because no one's going to know your body better than you. No one is the authority on your body better than you. All right. No matter how many credentials and education that I have, you know your body best. And so the more you can absorb and think like a movement professional, a trainer, the better you can program for your own body. Maybe you don't need to outsource quite as much because you have all that education to begin with. So what I mean by that is, so all that's being said is everything that I offer is about educating you and empowering you to create your own programming and implement your own programming. Those courses are marketed towards movement professionals, but I have had several like spouses, caretakers, family members attend, and they essentially learn how to work with people with spinal cord injuries in their own home, and it just is a beautiful relationship there. All right, that's a little bit, that's probably the least, I hope maybe that's the least interesting thing about me. Today, we're talking all about upper body exercises. And before, on that note, before we can actually just get into the exercises, it's helpful to know a little bit about the anatomy, shoulder anatomy, so that you can better engage with the exercise and maybe even modify and tweak them to fit them to you a bit better. So the more you know, the better you can tweak. All right. So quick little bone anatomy here. And I want you to feel as best as you can when I'm highlighting a bone. I want you to try to feel it either on your own body, or maybe if there's a body nearby, feel it on your helper's body, okay? Tactile is a really, really good way to learn. So you're going to have the auditory with me speaking, you'll have the visual on the slideshow, and then the kinesthetic experiential with you feeling, okay? So first, we have the scapula. The scapula is that big triangular thing on the back. Big triangular thing on the back. It's I think you can still see my camera. Is that true? Give me a nod. Can you still see my camera? You see I'm holding this bone too. Okay, so this is like the real dimension here. This scapula is a relatively flat scapula, but notice that it's kind of curved. And so that would mean it actually moves best on a spine that is slightly curved, okay? So this whole like flattening your back situation, that's not going to really like help your scapula move. You need a little bit of flexion, okay? And I'll talk about that when we get on the mat. Next thing to think here, to see here is our clavicle. That's our collarbone. So everyone just go ahead and feel your clavicle. Notice that it travels all the way out to the edge of your shoulder and then kind of winds down. It's a little bit of an S shape. There's a little curve in it. It winds down and connects right here. This is called your manubrium, okay? The important thing to know about the clavicle must have some mobility in order for your arm bone to move, okay? So as the arm bone goes up, the clavicle, whoa, this video is kind of mirrored. The clavicle, hello, Steph. The clavicle, the middle part of it, has to actually drop down a little bit. And then when the arm bone comes down, the clavicle kind of lifts up. So if you're feeling sticky in your shoulder, maybe it's not like this part of your shoulder, maybe it's like actually right here's not mobilizing, all right? The cool thing about the clavicle in that whole complex is that it's in front of you. So you can actually massage it. You can do something about it, okay? So we're gonna do that a little bit at the beginning of class. We're gonna do a little bit of a clavicle massage. Okay, we have the coracoid process, thumbs up. Coracoid process is this kind of tip. Let's see, where is it? Right here. It's this tip on the front part of this scapula, and that's where your pec, one of your pec muscles attaches to. So if you have a really tight pec muscle, you may be kind of, let's see, this is a right-sided scapula. The scapula might be kind of pulled over the top from this coracoid process if you have a really tight pec muscle, okay? Oh, we already talked about the sternoclavicular joints. Sterno meaning sternum, clavicular meaning clavicle, sternoclavicular joint. We already talked about that. Humerus, that's your arm bone. It's a funny one. Ha ha ha, it's humerus. All right. It's a ball and socket joint. So you can see that there's a lot of motion that can happen in this humerus. And like I said, we need the clavicle to drop in order for the arm bone to go up. Another thing that needs to happen is the scapula sort of needs, do you see how there's this roof here? Oh, that's the acromion. The acromion is the roof right there. That acromion needs to move out of the way in order for the arm bone to go up. Okay, this is my side here. So the acromion has to move out of the way for the arm bone to go up. So again, if you have sticky shoulders, two things to consider: collarbone mobility, and is your scapula gliding? Yeah. If that was a lot, don't worry. You can always look at stuff online. Google's great. I believe there's also, it's covered by my screen thing, but I think there's like a page number in this bottom left corner. If you have the book From the Ground Up, if you have my book From the Ground Up, those little numbers in the corner is going to give you a little reference page. You can always go back to look at your shoulder anatomy and From the Ground Up. All right. A simplistic view of scapular movement, let's all do these together, is elevation. So elevation is when you're shrugging your shoulders up. Everyone go ahead and shrug. Beautiful. And then depression is when you're bringing your shoulders down. Wow, I'm literally wearing the same top that we took these pictures in, huh? So depression is dropping the shoulders down. Retraction is that squeeze. Squeezing back. Yep. And protraction is this kind of the spread of the shoulders. And this actually works better if your hands are like on your thighs or your desk and you're feeling kind of a spread in your shoulders there. Sometimes my clients, they say that they're doing the Hulk move, like that's protraction. Okay, this is a very simplistic view of the scapula, and actually how most of the time that kinesiologists, movement people, this is how we learn it, but it's actually not true. The shoulders don't actually move that way. They actually move in an X pattern, where you have these muscles in the colors acting on the scapula. So we talked about the anterior tip. That's where the shoulder actually comes forward. So when you elevate, when we think of elevation, it's actually the shoulder kind of coming forward. And that's where maybe if you've heard of like a winging scapula, like, let's see, can I make my scapula wing where you can like kind of hook your finger underneath it? Okay, so anterior tip. And then we have the opposite of anterior tip. We've got the pink muscle. That's your armpit muscle. That's where the scapula pulls down a little bit and kind of comes around the side here. That's the good one. Earmark that one, because that's the one that moves your scapula out of the way so your arm can go up. Okay? And then we have retraction and depression. So if I can do this, that's where the shoulder kind of like comes down on this diagonal. So it's not straight down. It actually kind of like drops inward. And then we also have this up, it's called downward rotation. It's a little counterintuitive, but basically the scapula is kind of coming up this way. So we've got downward rotation, upward rotation in this kind of dimension, X, and then the anterior tip and the glide into the retraction and depression. Does that make sense? So it's basically, it's called this scapular X. And ideally that all of these muscles, so the blue, the orange, the purple, and the pink, ideally all of those muscles have balanced tone and tension so that the scapula can move with ease. Now, here's the thing though, with cervical spinal cord injury, some of these muscles, a lot of these muscles are affected by the spinal cord injury in some way or another. Maybe like just a little twinge of weakness, or a bit more affected, like as in like maybe you don't have access to it at all. And then that disrupts the balance of the scapula, and your scapula may rest kind of in a different position. So this is what I'm talking about, where maybe some of the muscles are de-innervated or affected by the paralysis. And so what happens often is like there's an overactivation of upper traps, your levators, your rhomboids. That rhomboids are the and the pecs. So we're talking like orange and blue muscles. Orange and blue muscles. All right, I'm just gonna increase my screen here so I can see more faces. Yeah, great. Okay, so where am I? Right here. Compensation patterns. Oftentimes, if you're not having like a strong core stability, you may like bring your shoulders to your ears as sort of like, oh, I feel more stable when I'm here. And ultimately, that places that shoulder in a more forward position. There's a mechanical disadvantage in that position. It makes your pushing, transferring, reaching, propping less efficient. Okay, so kind of on the other side then, why should we care about this scapular position and control? Well, a more open neck means more flow of your nerves and all of the blood flow that needs to go through there. Better nerve flow equals better tricep and hand dexterity. Improved mechanics, injury mitigation. So you're less likely to injure your shoulders, right? If you're using all of the pieces as they should be used. Okay, we just talked about this one. Improved mechanics also equals efficient use of your shoulders for transferring, pushing, propping, reaching, functional things. But this is my favorite. Scapular position influences how you access other areas of your body that are maybe more affected by your spinal cord injury, including your triceps. So if you are looking to improve your tricep function and tricep strength, you need to care about where your scapulas are sitting on your body and how you're activating your scapulas. I'll say activating your scapulas in order to activate your triceps. Let's break that down just a little bit louder for the people in the back. Scapular control equals access to triceps and core via the fascial lines. You can see these pictures here. These are the arm fascial lines. Look at the one on the bottom. Look at the one on the bottom and on the left-hand side, that deep back arm line. See all that fascia in there, like covering your scapula, and then it goes to the back of your arm and your tricep. Okay, if you want to access your tricep better, you better believe that that scapular position is going to make a difference. Same thing with your back, your spinal extension, your posture muscles. That's connected to your lats. That goes across your scapula. And then my favorite, the spiral line. If you are interested in improving your core stability, especially like your oblique abdominals, you're going to want to care about your serratus anterior, that pink muscle that I showed you earlier. I call it your armpit muscle. Armpit muscle. All right. If you are interested in, I know that I just opened like Pandora's box right here. So if you haven't heard of your fascial lines yet, I really, really encourage you to check out my online webinar. It's asynchronous online. It's about 2 hours. It's called Connecting to the Core, and it talks all about how you can leverage these fascial lines to connect better to different areas of your body. It's $19, super cheap. But right here, because you're coming to this webinar, if you use the code Q3class, you'll get 50% off that. So it's only 10 bucks. Okay. Highly, highly recommend it. Write down that code Q3class. We'll get you 50% off for the next month. Okay. Wow. Was that a crash course? Was that a crash course or what? Crash course in that. We're going to get into the movement part now. And this is how it's going to work for us. This is how it's going to work for us. I am going to be teaching in layers because I'm under the assumption that everyone here is different, and I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Everyone here is different. Everyone's got different needs. So I'm basically going to show the base exercise, or 3, and then we're going to do a second round through those exercises. You can either stick with that base layer, or I'm going to give an up level option. Okay, so everyone's going to do base layer, and then the second time through, everyone will probably be adjusting, learning, troubleshooting, maybe up leveling, maybe modifying. Okay. In general, we're going to do timed exercises. I'm going to do this for time because I know that everyone kind of works at their own pace. Hopefully within the time interval that I give you, you'll have time to set up and get 15 to 20 repetitions of the exercise. Okay. In the grand scheme of things, that is not a lot of repetition. Just for the efficiency of things, I like to set my clients up in a certain setup, and then they rep out like a bunch of reps basically until they burn out. With the smaller muscle groups that we are going to be working in this series, it's about endurance. It's not about building like big beefy muscles. That's called hypertrophy. We're looking more for this scapular control and the rotator cuff. There's small endurance muscles that take a lot more repetitions. Okay. Also, keep in mind today, we are learning. So don't worry if you don't get all 20 repetitions. The main idea here is that you're learning the exercise, and then you have it, and you can go off and execute it on your own later down the line. Okay, so you're going to learn the exercises. You'll have the replay to run through it again, and you can always pause the replay, but today, again, just learning. All right, sound fair? Sound good? Okay. And then of course, lastly, if it hurts, don't do it. Just hang tight. We'll be on to the next exercise pretty quick after we go there. All right, go ahead and get yourself settled on the mat. We are going to start with some mobility that mobilizes these bones and these joints. So that way you can access and connect better to the joints, to the exercises that we're actually going to go with. All right. All right, so go ahead and make your way down. And again, if you want, again, you will not get recorded, but I encourage you to turn on your videos, and I can always give you some corrections if I feel like you need some troubleshooting. I'll just use maybe like a first name reference. I won't use your last name. All right, we are going to just start. You can do this mobility sequence just on your back, or if you're in a chair, a power chair, just recline yourself all the way back. Yeah. All right. I've got my cheat sheet here. Not going to lie. All right. Collarbone massage first. We're going to start with a collarbone massage. That just means you're going to rub your collarbone. You can use the pads of your fingers. You can use your knuckles. You can use your thumb. You can use another device. We're just going to mobilize. We're going to massage that collarbone. So going kind of above the collarbone, closest to your throat, and then go below your collarbone. And again, if this is tricky for you, just have your helper help you out here. Anything is good. Anything is good. Some stimulation, some brain awareness of where your collarbones are. Go ahead and switch to the other side. We're going to go below the collarbone first. And then go above your collarbone. Oh, I switched that. That's all right. Doesn't really matter. Yeah. Great. And then you can just have your arms kind of out to the side. We're going to do collarbone rolls. Actually, so you can have your hands down by your side, or you can touch the collarbones with your hands. So that gives you a nice imprint in your brain of what's going on. We're going to do collarbone rolls. So shoulders are going to drop down, kind of pinch them forward, shrug them up to your ears, and then slide them down the mat, depending on what shirt you're wearing. I went skimpier on the tank top so you could see anatomy, but hopefully your skin's not sticking too much. Yeah, good. So building some awareness of like, oh yeah, my collarbones are supposed to rotate. If you have a really tight neck, especially in the front there, you might get a little tightness on there. This is a really great bang for buck just as a reset. Let's go two more. And last one. Beautiful. All right. We may split into two groups for this one. I'm going to give you two options for the next one. You're going to go for big arm circles with your shoulders this way. Option, roll to your side and do your arm circles on your side, which is going to give you a bit more rotation in your trunk. Okay. So option, we're going to go on the side with, this is called a pinwheel, where the arm is going to rotate through and then rotate open in your trunk. If you have a tricep thing where it's dragging across your face, just lean into the drama of it. Be like, oh, and then reaching out. Yeah. And again, we're just going to go for time. If you're on your back, you're just going double arm backstroke. Yeah. Let's go one more time there. Very nice. If you are on your sides, switch sides. If you are on your back, you're going to go alternating right, left backstroke. Alternating right, left backstroke. Okay, otherwise, you're going to roll onto your other side. I'm just going to stay facing the camera for you. Yeah. Something I didn't mention, another important aspect of healthy shoulder movement is a mobile thoracic spine. So getting spine rotation is going to be helpful for shoulder mechanics too. So again, if you're feeling sticky in your shoulders, you got to kind of check a couple areas. Spine mechanics or spine mobility, collarbone mobility, scapular mobility. All right, one or two more of whatever version you're on. Good. All right, if you're laying on your back, you're going to roll on, I'm sorry, if you're laying onto your side, roll onto your back again. We need our loop band today. I hope you all saw that in the email. You need a loop resistance band or a TheraBand that's tied, okay? If you need a little bit of help, use your helper, but we're gonna basically put the loop band just below your elbow. I'm gonna start, like I said, base exercise. Base exercise, this is all very much like if you don't have a lot of triceps, this is all friendly for that type of person, okay? We're gonna start with that and I'll give you another version on round 2. Your elbows are gonna start up towards the ceiling and your hands are gonna be kind of like wherever they land, okay? If you have a little bit of triceps, you can put your hands on the sides of your temples and create a little bit of like kind of force there. So elbows are gonna be up as high as you can. We're gonna press the band apart. Just be mindful it doesn't slide down your arm and snap you in the face. And then a real slow, bring the elbows back to middle. All right, we're gonna go about 15 or so here. So there's 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna stop counting out loud just in case someone's on a different pace. 9, 10, 11. Good. 1 or 2 more there, and then I'm moving on to the next exercise. Good. And these should flow pretty good together. We're going to bring your elbows down by your side. Pull your elbows as much as you can across your chest, to the sides of your ribs. The band is going to expand across your chest, all right? From here, you're going to kind of push your chest up towards the ceiling. I call it chest expansion. Then you're going to allow the band to come a little bit to the middle and bring your arms up as high as you can overhead. I'm going to get rid of my pillow. I don't like it. Arms as high as you can. All right. To the point where you can still pull your elbows again towards your sides. All right. So if you brought your elbows up so high that you sort of like got stuck up in there, just take a note of like how high can I go here and still dig out of the hole. All right. We're going to go for about 15 of those. Ideally, you're still kind of pressing out on the band. Okay, that band apart that you did earlier, it was to prime you for this. So you're having a little bit of a separation of your elbows while you're going for the chest expansion to lat pull over. Yeah. Good. Okay, I should have also warned you. I'm a terrible counter. So I'm going to go like 6 more, especially when I'm coaching. Yeah. Well, 6 more. Get that chest expansion. Don't forget. That's a good one. That's a good one for your back. That's how you access your posture muscles. 1 more time-ish for me, anyways. Yep. Beautiful. We're going to go into circles. So it's a kind of a culmination of everything you just did. Drop the elbows down. Squeeze them out to the side. Bring them up overhead. Down. We're just going to do 8 in one direction and 8 in the other. Yep. Once you've done 8, don't wait for me. Switch the sides. Out, squeeze, and up. Maybe 2 more. Nice job. Good. All right. All set on that. All right. This is where we get into layered teaching. I'm going to show you an up level. If it's not for you, you're going to do essentially the same thing that we're doing, just with the bent elbow version. If you're ready, if you want to try something new, you're going to bring your band down to your wrists. All right. You're going to start low towards your hips for this one. We're going to do the flies where you're pulling the band apart and then drawing back in. Okay. Here's the deal. Couple options that I want you to try throughout the 15. Try with your palms facing in. Try with your palms facing up. See what you like better. Okay, I'm happy with both. I also want you to try to bring the band up. We're going to do 5 low and then bring it up a little bit for 5 and then bring it up for a 5. So I want you to see how high you can bring your arms without a tricep break. Okay, here we go. Now I'm going to start the clock here. So 5 low. Here we go. 5, 4 straight-ish elbows, 3, 2, and 1. If you're on the straight arm, we're going to go up a little bit. See if you can go up a little higher. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, our shoulders burning yet? 2 and 1. Good. And then for your final 5, go up to a new place right before that elbow bobble breaks. Okay, right before the elbow bobble. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice job. And then bring your arms down by your front. We're going to do the same chest expansion to overhead. Okay, same thing. Chest expansion, you're just going to reach them past your hips. So now it's low at your hips. Just be mindful if you got tubes. So there's your chest expansion, massive triceps. And then you're going to keep a little bit of the band apart. Bring your arms up. You're going to see how far can you go before the elbows crash, okay? And then you just bring it back down towards your hips, chest expansion, and then back up. Chest expansion, and back up. And we're going to go for 15 here. Again, if you don't like this one, go back to the bent elbow one. That's what I mean, teaching layers. Find what feels good for you. Wow. Nice. Reach. Yep. I'm watching some of y'all for the 15. Hopefully some of you are counting. I'll stop when you stop. Get your chest expansion. Pull your hands to your sides. That's clutch. That's so key for those triceps. All right, was that about 15? Or at least you're on fire right now? Yeah, yeah, good. And then release. Whew. Cool. All right, so you did essentially 2 rounds of that. I would say if you were on your own and you wanted to go through that one more time through, go for it. Okay, pick the bent elbow or the straight elbow. I'm going to take a break off of the bands. We did a lot of pulling, yes? Let's do some pushing. We're going to grab our dowel or our Swiffer mop. Okay, dowel or Swiffer mop. There's a little setup, so hang tight with me. We need that dowel, the dowel or the mop part of it to be off, just like over the top of your shoulder there. Okay, it's helpful if that mop is kind of like bumped into something like a wall or headboard or something, or like I've got a sandbag. Sometimes I just put the sandbag right on top of that. Okay, if you're just using a dowel, it will definitely need to be wedged into something. Okay, we're going to have our hand on the dowel. Active hands yourself if you need it. Another kind of nice one that I like is sometimes we can get away with just the loop band a few times around and then kind of like sticking your hand in here. Okay, sticking your hand kind of in the loop band. Ooh, another tip that some of my clients like, they've got those like those like grip gloves, right? They've like stuck the handle in that grip glove, right? And then you just find the position that works. Okay, so they kind of like stick. Oh, I guess you could also like hold your hand here. Okay, so find a grip situation that works for you. All right. Shoulders are going to roll open, right? We want to have that open space. And then you're going to press your dowel up here. Yeah, just press on up. We're going to bend the elbow and then push, okay? What I love about this is hopefully your hand is not sliding down the dowel. You can get some nice pushing motion even if you have that interesting tricep situation. Yeah. Make sure one of your dowels is on the floor or like hooked into something and then pushing. Okay. We are learning the dowel here. Ways that you can make this harder, add some wrist weights. All right. Add some wrist weights. The angle also makes a difference. So if you are further away from your anchor point here, your arm is going to get kind of more and more and more and more like overhead. Okay. I think find a spot where basically at the top of it your arm is vertical, which is going to be really nice for if you ever wanted to do like some sort of quadruped or mod quad position. All right. Beautiful. We've done about 15, yeah? Did we do about 15? Great. 15. Okay. Stick press your arm up and stay there. I call these rainbow arcs, but they're kind of more just like a chest fly. So you're going to bring the arm out to the side and then pull back to the middle. Arm out to the side and then pull back to the middle. So working on those chest muscles for all of your push-ups, pushing, weight bearing. Yeah. And again, that end of the dowel, it needs to be on the floor so it has something to swivel on. Wedge it into something, the edge of the wall or what have you. If you are in a reclined power chair, you can put the dowel on like a dining chair behind you so it's a little elevated and you're not hitting the back of your chair. Okay. All right. Great. Let's go 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Love it. Beautiful. All right. We are going to switch sides, switch hands. So you got to switch your grip. We also need to move the anchor point of the mop off the shoulder. So it should be like straight in line if we can. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to switch. You're going to do 15 presses and 15 rainbow arcs, okay? And we'll meet at the end of all of that, all right? If you want to try to add some wrist weights, if you got those handy. Otherwise, we're learning the motion and then you're going to repeat this at another time. Good shoulder stability, especially with that arm straight. If it starts to weeble wobble, very good. All right, I'm going to start my chest flies when I see someone else start their chest flies. Rainbow arcs. And center. Yep. Nice. Getting that chest fly out to the side. When your arm is out to the side, you may even feel kind of your body like rotate that way. Try to keep your core strong and centered down on the mat. You got it. Yeah. Last 2. All righty. Nice job. We are not going to go through that series again. Bank it. Pro tip, if you get 2 mops or 2 dowels, you would be able to do both of those at the same time and be really efficient. Okay. All right. Love it. We are going to let go of the mop for now. And we're going to do another loop band exercise. So the mop just going to go off to the side. Here's another little circuit for you. The band is going to be at your wrist, and we're going to try to have a little bend at the elbow, all right, without being stuck here, okay? So if you need to be out a little bit, that's okay. We're going to go for external rotation of the shoulder, where we're pulling out on the band but squeezing the elbows in. So if I were to kind of show you like from a face up version, it's this, where you're externally rotating. This arm bone is rotating open, all right? We are going to do 5 like this, and then we're going to do 5 where your one hand is steady and this one is only moving, And then we're going to do this arm stays steady and this arm is only moving. Okay? I'm going to be upright for this one. You can obviously do this one on your back. This is a better visual, better view. Yes? Okay. Roll the shoulders open, pin those elbows in. Here we go. Out and then nice and slow in. 5, 4, 3, nice, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Open up just a little bit. One arm stays steady. The other arm's going to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. Good. This arm stays steady, and the other side goes. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Woo! Spicy. Nice job. Shake it out. Second exercise in the circuit. We're going to do it's called isometric tricep. Isometric, let's break that word down. Iso meaning same, metric meaning length. So same length tricep. That means your tricep is not going to change shape. We're going to hold it. So if you're going to work, let's say work your right arm, we're going to hold the right arm straight, or maybe if you want to make it harder, there's a little bobble in it. Meanwhile, the other arm is going to do somewhat of a bicep curl, and basically it's creating resistance for this tricep here, okay? So you're just going to try to hold, and you're going to do a bicep curl on the other side and then release, okay? Strong hold through the tricep, the straight arm. Yeah, let's go 15 on one side, 15 on the other. There you go. And there's a little bit of kind of out to the side motion too. Good thing we did all those warm-up exercises. Yep. Someone's just muted, so I'm just gonna make sure everyone's muted. All good. 15 on one side, 15 on the other. Don't wait for me to switch sides. I'm an unreliable counter. There we go. So for these isometrics, it's about time under tension. It's like, can you hold your triceps strong for a certain amount of time? Yeah. Good. Maybe 2 more-ish. Hopefully you got 15 on both. Yeah? Oh, shake it. Little dance. All right. We're going to do your external rotation again. 5, 5, and 5. Option, if you have a little bit of wrist, if you have like wrist strength or even grip strength. So before we had you doing your external rotation below the wrist. If you want to make it a little bit harder and you want to challenge that wrist strength, the band is going to go like kind of around your knuckles, or you can hold it with your hands. But you need to make sure that your wrists aren't getting left behind. So it's not like this, right? It's like wrists are strong, pull apart. Okay? 5, 5, 5. Are we ready? Roll the shoulders open. Here we go. Pull. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Figure out which side is going to be the stable side. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Other side is the stable side. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. Good. Shake it out. We have one more set of triceps and then we're wrapping up. One more set of triceps. Option for round 2. Okay, so we said isometric. Okay. Option for round 2 is a concentric. So you're going to hold your non-tricep side up and you're going to do an active tricep extension down. Okay, active tricep extension down. Another option is you can do that isometric with your arm a little higher. The higher it is, the more challenging it is for that tricep. So isometric for 15 or concentric for 15. You're working your tricep on one side. You may get a little bicep stuff too. Okay, here we go. I'm going to stick with the isometric. I love this one. Maybe try lifting it up a little higher. 6, 7, 8. Yeah. 14, and one more. 15. Woo. 15 on the other side. Here we go. Trying a little higher. And 15. Woo. Nice. Shake it out. Well done. Awesome. I want to make sure we have enough time to wrap up and Q&A. So go ahead and get yourself situated if you have any last wiggle outs that you need. I'm going to wrap that up for now. If you have questions, I'm going to open up the floor. Otherwise, if you're on the replay, thanks for coming. I'm going to turn off the recording now so we can just have a nice candid conversation off recording. And yeah, have a great one. And if you have any questions, you feel free to reach out.